Do you have the time to listen to me rank some Green Day songs? Hooligans, welcome to RCA Reacts. I'm Robert, who thought Green Day was an alternative name for Arbor Day Adams. And on February 1st, 1994, a three-piece band hailing from East Bay, California, hit the pop-punk rock scene and released their first major studio album, Dookie, which came in second place in 1994, falling behind Hootie the Blowfish's Cracked Rear View.
Nothing I can do. I've been looking for a girl I can
In celebration of the 30th anniversary of Dookie, I am ranking all of the songs from that album. Now, to clarify, I am a person who tends to like melody over lyrics, and it actually took a couple of years before I would actually sit down and learn what were these songs talking about. I was all into like how fun the songs sound, the fast beats that they had with it. It was a lot of fun to listen to for my ear holes, but it was time to learn what the lyrics were actually saying. What was the story that they were trying to tell? And it's kind of amazing that they, like, how wide of a range this album goes, hitting human and personal conditions of this band, and namely Billie Joe Armstrong, who wrote all the songs but two on this album. Now, before I get started, I do have to do the YouTube thing and make sure that everyone understands these are my opinions. This is how I connect to these songs. Very likely, you're probably going to connect with some of these songs in a much more different way than I do. And that's fine. Everyone comes from different experiences, and there's a lot of subject matter in a lot of these songs that I don't see in my own personal life, and there's some that are like really scary how well they are a part of my life that I never knew, because again, I never read the lyrics for these songs. Anyways, so again, this is my own opinion. Everyone understand? We good? We got it? Cool. Let's move on. Now here's our tier ranking board, starting at the top with Perfection, going all the way down to the bottom with Sure, I guess. Why not? And also keep in mind, I don't hate any of the songs from this album. This is just where I would order my likes. I'm not growing up, I'm just and we're going to start it off with the very first song from the album. That would be Burnout. And I do like a good rock album that has a good hard-hitting song right off the bat. Of course, this song deals with talking about just being burnt out on life, just being tired with life in general. And this is a term that, even though this was a song in 1994, I think this term is a lot more prevalent now because of how often do we hear the term burnout used nowadays, whether it's like commonly referred to in your work, being burnt out at work, needing to take your vacation days, or like even here on YouTube, we've got people that are retiring from YouTube, they're canceling YouTube, they're getting burnt out on YouTube, maybe needing to take a break from it. That burnout is real, and this is a song that kind of helps describe that. From a personal point of view, I can connect with this song in a lot of different ways, like yep, there's definitely times that I feel like I'm losing interest, especially in things that I'm typically interested in. And it's not just because I deal with depression, it's just an overwhelming urge to just not want to do that, which is hard because you have to be able to do something. Time is passing and you need to get stuff done. For example, it's what took me so long trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with this channel. So, that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and put Burnout into the like this category. Moving on to track number 2, we've got Having a Blast. This is one of those songs that sounds fun, but when you read the lyrics, ooh, it can get dark and scary, especially nowadays, with its meaning of wanting to end everything, just separate yourself and everything from the world. And back in '94, this was just a mental expression of just being tired and fed up.
And it's something that people usually kept to themselves.
Nowadays, this song would be highly scrutinized for its subject matter, especially stuff that it pops up constantly in the news, unfortunately, with the way society is nowadays. But it's still relevant to how we feel today, as you can see on the cover art for Green Day's Dookie, with the bomb blowing up in the streets, as if to say, F it all. Which again is a feeling we can all understand. I mean, I've worked customer service in a retention department, and no matter how logical I am them as to why a customer should be continuing to do business with us, they still want to cancel their account as if to say, F it all, I'm tired of this, I don't want to deal with your company, even though it may still save them money in the long run. And I think that's kind of an emotion that's kind of hard to explain unless you are actually in that person's shoes, or specifically you're in their head and feeling and dealing with those emotions
in that moment.
This is a very powerful song. I would probably have to say I'm gonna give this a good, just because again it's a fun sounding song, just very heavy on that meaning. Next song is Chump.
I don't know you, but I think I hate you.
Which could easily be like the theme song to Twitter, or X if you like writing Elon's Tesla. It's about forming an opinion of someone and especially hating them before you actually know anything about them. Frankly, it sounds like high school all over again. This is definitely prevalent in today's society, whether it's a political opinion where someone will call you dumb or block you without actually trying to find out why you think that way. Where was your point of view coming from? Or it could be something as simple as giving your opinion about your favorite movie, something I'm pretty sure Zack Snyder fans are very familiar with. That being said, I'm gonna go ahead and put Chump in the meh category. It's an okay song. I mean, I enjoy it, but yeah, it's not hitting anything that's gonna stick in my mind, and yeah, it's okay. Next song is Longview.
Bite my lip and close my eyes. Take me away to paradise.
This is the first single from the album that kind of describes someone who is just bored and all they can do all day is watch TV, smoke weed, and I know this was written at a time where Billy Joe was in a very boring place, and I kind of compare it to like when I deal with bouts of depression, and again, I don't feel like doing anything except watching TV or a movie or napping or... That being said, this is a fun song. Again, it's their first single off of this album. Like, the second the song starts playing, you hear the crowds go nuts, and everybody loves this song. For me, I will have to say that I am going to put Longview up in the perfection. It's a great song, and I can see why they led with that being the first single from the album.
Welcome to paradise.
Next song is Welcome to Paradise, which is a great song to describe both your mental state, being out on your own for the first time, but then also like the physical state of you don't have any money, you don't know what to do with life, you're on your own and you're in a cheap rundown place because that's all you can afford. Something that I feel like most people probably can connect with and understand, that being in that scary mental headspace and physical space as well. I mean, there is a reason why the instant ramen noodle market is still thriving. It's always interesting to hear say that particular person's like lyrics of how they describe where they're at mentally and just trying to reason with it. Or they may say something that like you may be going through but you haven't quite thought of yourself, and they're basically putting your thoughts and feelings into words, and that's really great as far as connecting with that song. Plus, this is another one of those songs that sounds fun, sounds upbeat, but it has a dark, like sarcastic tone to it. Of course, you're living in a crapshoot of a apartment or a home. Welcome to Paradise. That being said, I'm probably going to put Welcome to Paradise. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the perfection tier as well. Again, this is something I feel like we've all encountered, or most of us have all encountered in our lives, and yeah, I feel like it's just there personally for everyone who listens to this song.
She takes good care of me. Just keep saying my love is true.
Next song is Pulling Teeth, and this is going to be one of those songs that I thought was like an upbeat love song, because the only lyrics I could understand all of this that I was registering with, she takes good care of me, just keep saying my love is true. Once I paid attention to the other lyrics though, I realized how messed up this song was, and how it describes an abusive relationship where the woman is the abuser, which at that time, and in some instances today still, most common to hear about the man being the abuser, and if the man was the one being abused by a woman, sometimes they would just keep it to themselves, not want to tell anyone else, because men were ashamed to admit they're being abused by women. At the time this song was written, it was about a relationship that Billy Joe was going through, and it took guts for him to be open about this. That being said, again, I still enjoy the melody of this song, even though it's a harsh song. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the like this tier. Next song on the list is Basket Case, easily one of Green Day's most popular songs, because I'm pretty sure almost every single person knows exactly what's going on when you hear the line,
Do you have the time to listen to me whine?
And everyone just has that song stuck in the head for the rest of the day. The song's describing Billy Joe's mental state before he got diagnosed with a panic disorder. And I'm always in awe on how creatives use words and lyrics to describe what's going on in their head, while me personally, I'm someone that has a hard time being able to put to words exactly what I'm thinking, which causes a lot of ums and uhs as I'm talking. This is even better because the music itself is also setting that tone. The song begins with Billy Joe just playing by himself, and the rest of the band kicks in halfway through the first chorus as if it's like panic finally setting in and everything's just going crazy and nuts.
It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid?
This is a wonderfully built song that has some good layers to it. I absolutely love this song, and by saying that, yeah, this song's gonna go up to perfection for me as well. In fact, probably gonna put it like right there.
Scream at me until my ears bleed.
Next song is She, and this is written by Billy Joe about a relationship that he was in. He's writing out a description of his ex-girlfriend and how she was kind of basically how she's describing that she's feeling like she's trapped in a world that she cannot control, which I feel like for the most part we can all connect with that kind of feeling in some cases. So while I understand that need to have control in your life and the lack of that control, this is specifically a song that is told by a man about a woman saying that she doesn't have any control of that, and that is specifically from the relationship that he had with his ex. So of course this is something I don't feel like I can really connect to in a lyrical way, other than just the overarching idea that just don't have any control of our lives. That being said, I do have friends who say this is one of their favorite Green Day songs, and I can completely understand why they would say that. For me, again, I can't connect with it, so I'm gonna actually put this as, it's a good song, just not one, again, that I can emotionally connect to from the point of view of the lyrics of the song.
May I waste your time, dear?
Number 9 on the album, and that is Sassafras Roots. Now this is a complete opposite from the last song. The last song I don't feel like I could connect to emotionally. This song, when reading the lyrics and trying to learn what it is a gigantic slap in the face. This song is definitely an eye-opener for me, and especially on like how I've lived my life, and specifically how I have been in relationships, where looking back, I feel like a lot of those times I had no idea what I was doing or where I was going, and I felt like I was just like essentially wasting my partner's time going absolutely nowhere with that relationship. And it's hard to see that until you get that outside perspective, and looking back, I know that there's definitely some things I could have done better. I know a lot of these could have been like reasons or excuses as to why I didn't, and a lot of those were things I could have overcome, and it would have made things better on like my partner and for me, and probably would have made some of those relationships a lot more successful. Lyrically, this is a very simple song, but at least for me, it has very deep meaning and it's a very powerful song. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the like this tier, probably right under Burnout.
'Cause you know where I'll be found when I come around.
10th track on the album, and easily probably my favorite. This is When I Come Around.
This was the song
Back in 1994, I heard playing on the radio, and this was a song that turned me on to Green Day. Yeah, I've heard like some of the other singles that were released, and they were okay. I wasn't really connecting with them at the time, but for some reason, When I Came Around was the song that stuck in my head that I would be singing day in and day out, and this is what started my love for Green Day. This song describes a break in Billy Joe's relationship when he just wasn't sure what he wanted from that relationship, meaning he'll eventually come around to figuring out exactly what he wants, but also at the same time physically saying, hey, you know where to find me if you need me when I come around this area. as a way to hopefully talk things out and realizing that he may not be what she needs at that time. Again, coming around to that idea. I like the layers in the meaning of this song, but also, surprisingly, didn't know the lyrics to this song until much later, even though this is a song that I feel like kind of like defines 90s music to me. That being said, again, it's one of my favorite songs by Green Day. This is going to the very top of perfection, and I absolutely love this song.
My mom and dad will never understand what's happening to me.
Coming Clean is a song written by Billy Joe when he's trying to figure out how to describe his sexuality. And while this song doesn't make any blatant statements about his sexuality, it is describing him trying to come to terms with something that he doesn't know how to effectively word, and especially with this being something that he can already see that his parents just don't understand. Keeping in mind this was during the 90s where being gay or bi wasn't something that was actively talked about. Now granted, much more accepted during that time than it was in previous decades, but wasn't still something that you would typically verbalize for fear of what other people may think. That being said, we are still a ways from having this be something that is just socially accepted, people not being able to understand that another person's choice of their lifestyle has no effect on you. But we haven't gotten to that point still as a society, but I feel like we're growing there, and it's good to see like ultimate peace that everyone is free to live their lives the way they want. This is a very powerful song despite its short playtime of 1 minute and 35 seconds. That being said, again, this isn't a song that like I feel like I fully would connect with, but it is a good song. I'm gonna put this in the meh, but good meaning to it.
And I think I'm sick and I wanna go home.
Next song I believe is pronounced Emenius Sleepus. I never took Latin in school, sorry.
Do not read the Latin.
This is the one song on the album actually written by bassist Mike Dirnt. It basically describes two friends who grew up with the same kind of opportunities, and one took advantage of those opportunities while the other one didn't. And this is one of those songs that I feel shows like lyrically how well Green Day was tapping into those emotions, when a lot of these songs are dealing with the kind of emotions that can be lumped into one overarching feeling like depression or I'm just sad, but instead they're breaking them down into the individual ways of looking at it, of attacking that feeling and emotion. And they use that in a very powerful way, and I feel like it hits pretty hard. That being said, again, this isn't necessarily a situation that I have personal experience with, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this one also in the meh tier. In fact, I'm gonna stick it after that Coming Clean right before Chump.
So I hope I will be there in the end if you come around.
Next song is In the End. So basically, Billy Joe doesn't like his mom's new partner, and she's effectively trying to question her choices while also telling him that he wants absolutely nothing to do with him. It's another example of a common thought that some of us may have to address, that we may personally see in our own lives, but it's written out as a focused idea from Billy Joe's point of view, given his history with his family, and while trying to deal with these changes in his family, which again, change is hard. This brings on the ideas and feelings of like loneliness and being singled out, which is very prevalent, especially like in pop punk rock, and is also conveyed throughout the entirety of this album. And dealing with family issues like this can take years to really like to really get into it and to get over it and get used to that idea of change, and then being accepting of the other person, and then at that point you realize in the end it doesn't even matter anyways. That being said, I mean, I've kind of had to deal with this in my own life, but I was an adult. I wasn't quite the age that Billy Joe was at the time that he's describing what's going on in this song. So for me, it really wasn't something I had to immediately deal with. It was more of a, okay, sure, I guess. Which is funny because that's where I'm going to put this song at, in the sure, I guess, why not tier. It's exactly how I feel about the subject matter of this. Makes sense, doesn't it? And the final song on the album is F.O.D, which is essentially just being able to tell off someone without having to worry about any complications of it. Of course, F.O.D stands for F off and die. Just, I don't care, get away, just...
You are dead to me.
And it's nice to be able to convey that to certain people or things without having to worry about those repercussions. A lot of times we may, in the heat of the moment when emotions are high, you may want to say that to someone, not realizing that you still may need that person, you still rely on that person or that business or that thing or something. And this isn't quite a feeling that I feel like a lot of us can responsibly use, because a lot of times you just say it and not realize that you're probably shooting yourself in the foot for how you are saying this. Especially nowadays, because of how prevalent the internet and smartphones are, it's not only the fact that you're telling the one person to F off and die, it is also how everyone else looks at that, because now you have to be mindful that when you're doing something like that, it could be recorded. You could be getting like societies, the court of public opinion involved in that, which we see like nowadays with people that are calling out a racist Karen in the park because you're walking your dog without a leash. She gets called out for her racial BS and then loses her job, which is all kinds of like delicious and great. I absolutely love when that happens, but this is something that is more of an idea of something we can't do nowadays. You are expected to be on your best behavior at all times in public now, because you never know who's listening or who's going to have an opinion about it. So this is a song describing an idea of something that it's just really hard to achieve nowadays. And I think that's going to be very prevalent in how people connect with this song. That being said, specifically from that angle, I don't feel like that's necessarily something I have to worry about, because I'm the type of person that I try to think about things before saying it. And of course, yeah, I can get emotional as well. I'm not perfect, but it's something that I aspire to try to maintain a public persona just in general, not because I'm doing YouTube stuff, but just because I like people to like me, and I might rely on some of those people, and I don't need to mess up on something in the heat of a moment and not have that support later on. For me, I'm gonna say this is probably a sure, I guess not, I guess, why not, whatever that tier's name is, that's where I'm gonna stick it. So this is my tier ranking of all of these songs. I feel like it's a pretty good tier rank. I feel like pretty good reasons as to why I connect or why I don't connect with some of these songs. I'm kind of curious about yours. Let me know down below in the comments. While you're down there in the comments, please let me know what other albums would you like me to do a breakdown with. I specifically am going to probably focus on a lot of these albums that I do have personal connections to, specifically albums that I will probably listen to the entire album over and over and over again. So expect to see a lot of those in the very near future, especially I believe come September. We will also be hitting the 20th anniversary of American Idiot, which I love even more than Dookie, so I can't wait to talk about that one. So yeah, drop those comments down below, and while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you share as well. That's how we grow this channel. Follow me on social media. I am at RCA Reacts on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Letterboxd. Speaking of Letterboxd, if you're interested in movies, I do have another YouTube channel where I talk about movies with my younger brother. Come join us at youtube.com/cinefanatics for all your movie fun talk and needs and trailer reactions and everything. We have a lot of fun just talking about movies all the time, so go check out that channel and also subscribe over there. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Very much appreciate each and every one of y'all liking and watching and sharing. Come back for the next one. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see how idiot-proof this world has gotten lately. Come check that out. Anyways, until then, I'll see you hooligans later. Goodbye. Laters. What? You still here? Did you think I was going to forget about the hidden track all by myself, written and sung by Trey Cool? Pfft, please. It's another song about masturbation. S tier!